Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe.
Welcome, all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends. It's the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky, coming to you from an undisclosed location. Unfortunately, I cannot be with the group today. I'm going to turn it over to my good buddy, Eddie Guevara, for the introductions and the setup for what's going to turn out to be a great topic of discussion today. So, Eddie, take it away.
I want to bring up to the table really quick is that we've decided, and we were talking about, we're going to be doing the podcast every 2 weeks instead of every week. So it's going to come out every other week on Wednesday night, which will be Thursday morning at 3 a.m. That's the time. And I did that because I've been doing some search and, some research on it and stuff and searching for better ways to get better listeners and stuff. And what happened is, for people out there that are listening that don't know about this, is Anchor was bought out by Spotify a few years ago. And one thing that happened that was very crazy about it was that in merging Anchor into Spotify didn't take until, I guess, about a month or 2 or 3 months ago. They started merging Anchor over and they changed the podcasting platform and all that stuff. So for somehow something happened that I lost a lot of my subscribers. And so the whole thing is that it kind of put me where I don't really know what the analytics are right now, because the podcast is being heard on Apple, Amazon, and there's really no way I can know how many people are listening in those platforms, unless I figure out a way. I'm going to have to reclaim the podcast from all the other platforms. So anyway, until further notice, we're going to go every 2 weeks because I feel that this way, each podcast that comes on, it gives it enough time for people to listen to it, and not just that, let's say it'll come on a week later. It's not even enough time for it to generate, because normally when the podcast initially plays, it doesn't really get distributed to like the next 24 hours. So when you do it a week later, people are not getting a chance to be able, or let's say the podcast is not really getting a chance to get fully distributed, and I could get real analytics on the amount of people that are listening at each given time. Having said that, Chuck, what's happening your way? What's in your neck of the woods this week?
Yeah, hey, I think that's a good idea. First of all, with every other week, give the analytics time to catch up and everything. But yeah, we've been very busy. I've been doing a lot of shows. It's been rainy up here. One of the shows I just did the other day was at a church festival, and I showed up and I talked to the pastor, the priest. I said it was an outdoor type of a function, and I said, well, how does the weather look out here? Because where I came from was really pretty rainy. He goes, oh, he checked the weather. It's all fine. It cleared up. So I go to my vehicle. I put my cases and my trunks onto the floor dolly, and it started to rain, started to drizzle. So I said, do you have a contingency plan somewhere else for me to set up? He said, no. I said, oh, no, you got to be kidding me. So I said, I can't bring my apparatus out there on your stage and set up. So I happened to notice there was an elderly woman in a storefront who was mopping the floor. And so I knocked and I went inside. I said, listen, would you mind if we did a magic show in here? Because they closed down the whole street for this festival. So luckily she said, no problem. So I told the pastor. And so when it was my time to go on, they actually called everybody inside. So it all worked out good, but it's important, man. You got to have a backup. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not just for me, but for all entertainers. You can't be out there in a drizzle or in the rain. So that was one of the things that happened. The other thing, I did a show the other day for our church. It was VBS, the Vacation Bible School, which was pretty cool. I'll post a couple pictures on the forum. There's an artist in our church, and she's very talented, and she actually built a castle. What was the theme to this, Cheri?
It was like a medieval, put on the whole armor of God from Ephesians. So it was more like a knights and armor, and it was really cute.
Yeah. So
and they had dragons, and she painted dragons.
Yeah. Oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah. So I did the show up in front of the castle. It was really cool. It's a nice background. So I'll put some pictures
Yeah.
on the forum and so forth.
And then when he pulled the rabbit out,
Oh yeah.
I told him to change the name. He called him Sir Hopsalot. It was perfect. perfect for this medieval theme. But he was the last part of the whole week of vacation Bible school. There was like 77 kids, and like maybe like total with families over 100 people, and they had dinner every night. It was really nice.
Yeah.
But he was the grand finale Friday night. It went really
Wow,
well.
that
Yeah,
sounds
what a
pretty
blessing.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because when when we're talking about grand finale, I got one kind of the other day. Let's go back a little. In September, I walked into a liquor store to buy a soda. my wife
Joke.
was
Yeah,
over
this,
at
this
Marshalls.
sounds like a joke, Eddie. A guy walks into a liquor store to buy a
Yeah,
soda.
well, that was the only thing that was next to Marshall. So I go inside, and, it was,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
and I see a knight in shining armor there.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like one of those displays, you guys have when they for beers and stuff like that. So it was called, I think it was oh gosh, Revolt or Revit something. I forgot the name of it right now. But the thing is that I saw the knight, and it captured my eye. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like 6.5 feet tall. I gotta have this. I mean, I wonder if they want to sell this. So I walk inside, and they got some kids working there. And the guy's like, well, I don't know. We found that up in the attic. We put it down here, whatever the reason. So, about 2 or 3 weeks later, I go back again. This time I go in and I bump with the manager because I did ask the kid who was the manager. And I asked the manager, hey, what are the chances of you? And she says, well, you know what? Somebody actually has been asking for it. There's been like, I think 2 people asking for it. If it's here in 6 more months, ask me again.
Wow.
I waited and waited and waited. And about a month ago, I go over there again and I say to the manager, hey, remember me? And she goes, oh, yeah. Hi, how are you? And I go, what about the night? And she goes, it's kind of funny. The lady that asked me for it's been here like 4 times today. I'm going to ask her when I see her this week, and I'll call you. So I gave her my phone number. To my shock, she called me about 3 days later and say, hey, if you want, come pick it up.
Isn't that amazing?
My car had a new rider.
Yeah, I saw the pictures that you
Yeah,
posted.
those pictures were phenomenal. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. Did
Yeah,
you find a sword, Eddie?
Well, apparently the original knight had a sword. I mean, I don't know if they have it there or not, but I haven't gone back. I was going to actually ask, but either or, I'm sure that I can find a sword in my storage somewhere because I do have several swords. I think you know what? The sword that would go good in that, I think I have an Excalibur sword.
Oh, that would be cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it would be perfect for the knight, but the knight is really nice, and it weighs about 40, 50 pounds, I guess. It does break down in 2 parts, so it was easy to put in the car. But my wife was not too happy when she came out of Marshalls and saw it. But it's in the storage.
Where did you put it, in the storage unit?
Yeah, are you
Oh,
kidding?
wow,
If I put it in the house, I could probably keep it in the house if I moved to the storage unit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful night.
It is a nice looking night.
Back in 91, 92, when I used to travel to Florida a lot, because I drove down to Florida every year for like 27 years straight. And when I was driving down, there was a guy his name was Lee, and in exit 98 of South Carolina, 95 South, I think it's Santee, South Carolina, where I would stay. I always stay the night there in the hotel that was there. It's a hotel called the Jameson Inn, which is one of my favorite hotels. I always stayed in it because that was like the best hotel ever, because it was you can only find them from Virginia down, but they allowed you to make your own breakfast. It was phenomenal. So when I was in the Jameson Inn, what happened is, that this guy Lee used to own a gas station. It was a big Exxon gas station. He owned like about 5 acres of land there, and he used to sell lawn ornaments. I mean, everything from life-size elephants to, he had all sorts of ornaments there. And right in front of there was a little store he had, a little country store, which I used to love going in there. All the little junks they would sell.
Yeah, those are cool.
We love
those
country
are the cool
stores. Yeah.
They're the coolest. That's actually what made my trip. Every time I would drive down there, I used to love to make pit stops in those stores because of all the stuff they sold, Yep. And they had right in the front, tied to the thing, a knight in shining armor. But I'm talking about the cheaper Mexican ones that are like tin. But it was 7 feet tall. And I go to him, how much you want for that? And he says, no one asked me. He says, that's actually for my decoration out there. He said, No one asked me to buy that. So I said, can I have? He goes, well, if you want it, I'll give it to you. So this is the funny thing. I used to have a Chevy Celebrity 4-door. It was a four-cylinder engine, but a nice, beautiful Chevy Celebrity. And I decided that I wanted it. So the way to bring it up from there, since obviously it's 7 feet tall and it's one solid piece.
Oh, wow.
He sold it to me for, I think it was $83 with the tax and everything, right? He gave me a great deal on it. So I tied it on top of my car.
Oh, you had it on the roof?
Yeah, we covered it in plastic, but it was a clear plastic. And we covered it on top. And I drove it from South Carolina to here. And but I actually bought it on the way down. And then on the way up, I picked it up. So when I came back with it, I remember pulling, I think it was, I don't know if it was the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I forgot where I was in one of the Maryland Turnpike. And the lady looked at it and said, I'm not going to ask what you got there. I'm not going to even ask the question. I came and everybody in the road was looking at me with the night, because you could see the night, it was, and at that time it was very uncommon to see nights other than in television shows and haunted houses.
Yeah.
But you really didn't see them. Like right now you can go on Amazon and you can buy, many different nights. You can buy,
oh yeah,
they're like between $700 to $1,000, whatever. And, but the whole point is though, that what I like about the one they gave me is the fact that it's made of like fiberglass, but it's got the grayish. So it looks like it looks like it's an old thing that you would find definitely in a haunted house.
Yeah, right.
It's phenomenal. Like I said, on the forum, I obviously posted pictures under, I think it's robots. I forgot which, but if you scroll down in the forum, you'll find one of, actually, a lot of people don't know this, but if you go to the forum on the top, there's links to all the pictures and stuff, and if you go and click on that, look at all the pictures. If you see the picture of the night, you click on the picture and automatically links you to the forum where it's on, and you can see the discussion on it and everything. But people can see what it looks like, and let me tell you, it was really cool. Now, one question, I want to bring up in our conversation today, Chuck. A lot of people lately, I don't know why, there's kind of like a movement I see online and stuff. There's a lot of people started already, again, talking about Bigfoot and the legends and stuff like that. And I guess one of the reasons that this has happened is there is one particular show which I started following last year. And I mean, I was shocked because it's called What If. And so it's WF. What If is the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And the guy that started that only had about 5,000 subscribers, and now I looked yesterday, he's got 2.2 million.
Oh yeah.
And he's really pushed up. So now he does all sorts of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and he talks about everything from time travel to so and that's fascinating. And one of the things that actually caught me, and that's what I'm saying, I saw those things about Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and all the different things, and Nessie, the Yeti.
Yeah.
There's a lot of videos that were popping up. But one of the things that I also really got into, that I watched like 3 or 4 videos yesterday, was the talk that they're saying now with the James Webb telescope. I think it's the James Webb or the Webb telescope, the one that they put up there that's further out than Hubble.
Right.
And it's supposed to bring a lot more than Hubble ever did. Well, they've kind of found out a couple of critical things. One, I think it actually helps to prove that God exists more than ever. And one of the reasons is because, according to the Big Bang Theory, when say, for example, when you're looking at constellations and galaxies, we're supposed to look really big. And the further we go out to see them, like with the James Webb telescope, it would be that they would be smaller. And the reason is because they're saying that the lights kind of reflect, it's kind of like you see a small thing, and as you're going further away, it gets larger and larger, kind of.
Right.
But what happened is that the small galaxies are small when we're seeing them, and way back, thousands of years that they're peering into space, they're looking back in time. And in reality, it looks like they're not expanding. So a lot of them seem to have just been in the place. So now they're coming up with some new ideas. And this guy, Michio Kaku, I think his name is, from New York University,
Right.
the famous Japanese physics. his main thing is I don't know if I'm sure you heard of it. It's called the string theory.
The string theory,
Okay,
absolutely.
that's what his main thing is. But what they're talking about is that there's a possibility that time as we know it doesn't really exist. Now they're trying to bring all this wild theories that that the past, the present, and the future are actually happening at the same time. It's just that we in our mind
Okay.
we've made up time. Like time, we go through time, but it might not really be in existence. It's kind of so
Yeah.
we go through a lot of things. I'm not going to obviously get into it because I won't really know how to explain it, but I do understand what they're saying, and it's just wild stuff, man. Because it makes me realize the more we go out and the more we look in space and stuff, the more that there's proof that there's got to be a creator for it
Exactly.
because of the way everything is. And I mean, I'm surprised a lot of scientists, as smart as they are, don't look into that
Yeah.
and agree with that, because I guess to them is we need to find a meaning. But then when you put together a bunch of string theories and stuff like that, if you look at it, let's say a lot of people won't believe in God because they'll say, you know what, believing in God is just nonsense. But at the same time, what is believing in 20 different theories that you're making
Yeah.
up, the string theory to that you really have their own hypothesis and stuff,
That's
and they
right. There is
really
no,
have,
yeah, there is no proof, and there is a
yeah,
danger to that too, man. When you start believing we're like in a simulation, that seems to be big in recent times. They're talking about the simulation type of thing, that this isn't even real and so forth. You could lose your mind if you think about that stuff, man. And like you said, there is no proof. It's all speculation, hypotheses.
right.
But yeah. I mean, no, but everything out there, you know what? It's very obvious that there's an intelligent design to everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
When even we see our newborn baby,
yeah, our
our little
grandson. You look at a new
grandson,
baby, even it's
yeah,
just amazing.
everything is just
You
perfect.
know,
It's
yeah, and one of the things that you see about intelligent design and stuff that we need to really realize and is the fact that when you have a universe, when you have so much things going on at once and everything, for example, one thing that was brought up in one of the videos is the fact that they were thinking, if the universe actually started with a big bang, that means that every galaxy and stuff eventually will be colliding with
Yeah.
each other.
right.
And the guy compared it kind of like looking at a highway filled with cars, yet all the cars are going, next to each other and riding, but nobody's crashing with each other. And there's nothing, none of the galaxies are actually crashing with other galaxies. And so it's kind of turning a lot of the famous physics have actually, and astronomers have actually looked at an entire uh, life's work and realized, hey, I kind of wasted my time.
Yeah.
Everything was wrong. And
Mm.
that's why a lot of scientists don't want to accept certain things. I mean, one, I watched the thing, it's called, there's a particular show, Chuck, that is on YouTube. And I think it's put out by Yale University. I think it's called The Talking Point, or I forget what it is.
Yeah.
They bring together, the biggest mathematicians,
Uh-huh.
astronomers, like some of the biggest minds of our time. And they had three individuals, and those three individuals, one of them was kind of like skeptic, where he didn't actually believe in God. The one was a mathematician, with all his calculations. He says, and this guy wrote many books. He was a Yale professor. He said that his conclusion is there is an existence, and it demands a creator. And the guy who, it was so funny though, because the guy who was kind of like the atheist, after they finished the 1 hour and 20-minute long discussion, concluded that the reason Christianity makes its claim so well is that it actually has answers for all things. So of all the theories out there, it made the most sense. And so then the other guys asked him, "Are you going to become?" He goes, "I might consider it now."
There you
Not
go.
consider it, but he kind of said, "I'm going to have to look into it," because the whole thing
Yeah.
is, and the reason I brought all this up and stuff is because I love everything to do with conspiracy theories, UFO, Bigfoot, flying saucers, and of course, like when we look at now, for example, we have this guy who just recently came out a few weeks ago, and he's talking about, and supposedly he's a really high-ranking official, that the government has had UFOs for over
Yeah.
30 years or
We
more,
saw that.
whatever, and
Mhm.
they have been reverse engineering things and stuff like that. But here's the
Uh-huh.
thing about it. Everything he's talking about, he never saw anything. He just heard about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to an interesting conclusion. Many things is what exactly is going on out there that the government wants us to like look into this. Like they're trying to cover something else is going on that they just want people to believe in UFOs and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
I tell you what, Eddie. There's been a shift in the government's, like in their attitude. I don't know. I mean, for 50 years, 60 years, they've been vehemently denying the existence of UFOs.
But
But now they said, yeah, they probably exist. I mean,
but
it's just bizarre.
well, that's the whole thing. But what I'm trying to say is they're saying yeah, and they're coming out with all this stuff. But at the same time, I feel that they're just doing it like they did in the public in the past, just trying to get people's minds off what current events might be
But
or
yeah,
what
that's
they're
what a
trying
lot
to
of people
do.
are saying. That's
And
true.
they're just letting this thing UFO go wild. Because here's one thing you got to remember, okay? For once, you got governments like Russia, you got governments like the United States, you have China. If they had in their possession anything that was out of this world and stuff, and they could use, and there was so much secret technology, well, when you see things like, for example, Russia, they're in a war. They're like practically trying to dig up everything under the ground. So all their top secret and stuff is not winning this war. Okay. At the same time, you have a submersible that goes into to see the Titanic.
Yeah, that's a
They're
shame.
out there, the Navy and all these people. Okay, they heard through some secret thing they have. They heard the explosion. Okay, but the whole thing is they don't even have the technology to go into the ocean and retrieve whatever, right?
No, that's true.
So the thing I'm saying to you basically is the real life thing is, yeah, another thing, every time they show a UFO or they show conventional aircrafts that are being chased by whatever top secret agendas, they're being chased by supposedly F-16 fighters. And well, my question is, you're going to tell me now that a $2 or $3 billion airplane, the only camera it has shows a black and white fuzzy thing that looks like it was a Super 8 camera from 1978.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You know what I'm trying to say? I've read, because I'm into science a lot, and all I listen to in my house, Chuck, is the History Channel,
Yeah.
the Science Channel. I mean, the whatever it is, and YouTube. I'm always listening to any type of, from conspiracy theories to
Absolutely.
monsters to
Yeah.
that's the stuff I love, right? Now, in all this time, I remember very clearly where it showed, this is a few years ago. We're talking like maybe 10 years ago, where it showed a satellite that the United States had that is so great that can read a postage stamp
Right.
at from the right here from Earth. So if you have satellites that have that type of technology from years ago, and you have technology that can pick up an explosion or implosion in this case with the submarine that was going to the Titanic that killed the 5 people, you can get the implosion, of course, for whatever top secret reasons and government security, which I understand. There's no reason the government should even say that they even heard that. But I mean, whatever reason they mentioned, because I mean, the government, you want us to be protected. So I don't mind them having all this top secret stuff, because it's better to have top secret stuff and not make it known that somebody else can copy it. So I'm okay with that. I'm all for the security of the nation we live in. It's our
Sure.
country. I'm okay with all that top secret. It's fun to always say the top secret, because it's just fun stuff. Like I tell people, it's fun stuff. The reality is that there's probably no such thing. I mean, if they had a flying saucer for real, if they ever caught anything like that, it would be known. Like, how would it be possible that so many people would see this,
Yeah.
and they would stay quiet? And let's be honest, they were talking about Jesse Marcel, not a pilot. He said he was. So you mentioned this in many shows. Jesse Marcel's son said, "My father came into the house and showed me a piece of metal."
Yeah.
You mean to say that if you're in that position, you have a piece of metal, you're going to turn it in?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
gonna,
Well, that's exactly what I questioned. I mean, if it was such a strange piece of metal, it would crinkle up like tinfoil, but it would expand, and you could hit it with a sledgehammer. It wouldn't even dent it. It was some kind of space age material. I mean, why on earth wouldn't you throw that in your closet and act like, hey, I never seen anything? Because you have 20,000 other pieces of supposed debris out there. Nobody's going to know it's missing. No, I was always questioning that, and these other people like Bob Lazar and Colonel Philip Corso. I mean, either they were just seeking attention or something. I don't know what their motives were, but I mean, some of the stuff they
It's the
pretty,
motive is popularity. The
yeah,
motive is money. Alan Allende, I think it was. You know, he was caught that he was getting paid. It's all a scam. It's all just a way of making money. In reality, people don't understand anything you see on television, especially with today's technology. Most likely, it's not true. It's not real stuff. It's just people want to believe in things. Now, let's say, for example, when you believe in God, for example, you can see in the creation, you can see in space, you can see in the way everything functions, the atom.
exactly,
There's so much to prove there's an intelligent design, but there's very little to prove when it comes to do we actually have real UFOs. Now, what could we have? Yeah, I'll tell you, we can have experimental crafts that, for example, the United States is actually testing.
Yeah.
Russia, China, experimental crafts. Like, I mean, this is a known fact. The United States actually said in the 1980s, I think it was, that they allowed for the UFO enigma to grow because at that time it was taking people away from what they were actually doing, which was using experimental
exactly.
aircraft.
Oh yeah,
You know, so they actually let the public believe whatever it was, and that was it. I've seen real, and I'm talking about real documentaries based on Area 51 from people that worked there. Or they actually caught a plane from Russia that they dismantled in that site. And it was a plane that was a lot more advanced than the ones we had. So that's the stuff that was going on Area 51. Well, but yeah, you got a guy like Bob Lazar, which in reality, he said he worked, but there's no proof he actually was part of anything. And he says, "Oh, I saw aliens, I saw a UFO, and this and that." You know what Bob Lazar did? He made a lot of money with his garbage,
yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
basically. You know, and there's so many people out there. A lot of the stuff that we have, haunted dummies, haunted this and that, are just novelties. It's fun because we grew up watching Abbott and Costello and
yeah, oh yeah,
that Frank. But everybody knows the Frankenstein monster was really not a real monster,
yeah,
Right.
you know. But the point is that I've had people contact me and say, "Hey, I see you're selling this haunted thing or haunted that," and it took me a while to try to explain to them there's no such thing as a haunted thing. You know, I mean, in fact, if you look at the Bible's explanation about whatever, when you die, it says that your soul goes back to God, but it doesn't specifically say it goes around roaming the earth.
no,
No.
So there's a lot of confusion, but that's religion. We're not going to get in that
No.
detail
No.
right now.
right,
But what I'm saying is, people got to realize when anybody, especially on eBay, oh, we have a can that supposedly has a spirit in it. This is all novelties, man. And people got to remember, and this is the most important thing. When I sell a product and I put a hunted dummy or something like that, which I just recently did, and I got the hand moving, it's obviously being done through strings. It's obviously not a real thing.
I would hope so. Yeah,
But
That was
and I always put, because it's just fun. It's fun to sell things.
right,
I love magic trick, but now, you know how many people Houdini had to pull to the side and tell him, "Hey, I'm not a guy from out of this world. You can do what I do if you knew how to do it."
yeah, yeah,
I'm
right,
not. I'm not a. So,
yeah.
and you know what? A lot of people still thought he was some type
Oh,
of
absolutely.
mystical god.
Well,
That's
even
amazing.
his best friend for the first few years, Arthur Conan Doyle, the
Yeah.
writer of Sherlock Holmes,
Mhm.
he was firmly convinced that Houdini could dematerialize, he had supernatural powers, and Houdini told him, "No, I can't," So they were good friends in the beginning, but then later on they became pretty much like an adversary. They didn't care for each other. But yeah,
Wow.
but I get that stuff even in the magic field, Eddie. I mean, I use skulls that collect their jaws and bells that ring on their own and stuff. Most of the people, 99.8% of the people think, "Oh, this is just a clever magician." But every once in a while, you get somebody come up to me, "Hey, is that real?" Or something. I mean, what are you smoking? I mean, this is just a clever type of a magic trick. You know what I mean? And I always like spooky stuff, and
What do you
everything.
tell them? God's the only one can do real magic.
Yeah, I say God can only do real magic.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
right.
this is just a simulation. If you want to talk about a simulation,
A simulate. I mean, this is what baffles me. People are willing to accept. Why
Right.
would I believe in that? But yet, the world is a simulation. We are a computer program that don't
Yeah.
exist. So yeah, when I get hurt and I fall down, I'm not really hurt.
Yeah.
It's just in my mind. I think I am. How goofy can it get? You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we get back and we have right now in our country the last year alone. You have people, grown-ups in Congress, acting like children, fighting over stupid things,
Yeah.
and
They're arguing all.
and saying,
Oh my
and
God.
then everything from wear a mask to don't wear a mask. At the end, if you really notice, not a lot of them knew what the heck they were doing,
No.
Yeah.
and including the CDC and doctors and stuff. Because in reality, we're living in a real world with real things,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, sci-fi doesn't exist. And just because there's people, oh, there's a cure for cancer, but you know what? They're not bringing it out. There could be truth in a lot of that. There could be truth in a lot of things, but you
Sure.
got to understand, if there was a cure for cancer and then all of a sudden the president of the United States died of cancer, don't you think he would know the cure exists? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Sure.
Like, we have to realize that a lot of things, conspiracy theories, are just that. They're great on paper and they look phenomenal. The truth is that life is just a boring thing. It's a single every day. You get up in the morning and there's really not a lot of sci-fi going around you. Found a flat space rock that is traveling throughout the solar system, and it came supposedly from outside the solar system. It's got a weird name, but supposedly they could only see a light of it because we didn't realize it had passed the Earth until when it was going away from us. Perhaps it looks like a star, but yet they tell you it's flat. I mean, I don't know how scientifically they found out what it looks like. I know they have the capabilities with mathematics and all that. And again, that tells you of a creation or creator for a creation, because the universe works so perfectly that with mathematics they can calculate almost everything and do everything because everything is in harmony with each other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But now they also have, I forget what it is. It's been for many years. There's something orbiting the Earth. I forget what they call it. But they claim it could be a spaceship. It's been orbiting the Earth for years.
Oh, is that the blue? That something blue?
No, they have a name for it. I can't remember right now. I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't
Yeah.
right now because I don't have a computer. But it's some type of device or
Mm-hmm.
rock it's a dark rock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going around the Earth.
I think I do remember reading something about
Yeah,
that.
and they're saying that it gives no, like, in other words, it responds to waves and stuff for whatever reason. So they said, can it be a spice? It's one of those things. But you know what? At least there's something out there. They're trying it, but of course they're going to make it look more interesting. It's like, for example, if there's a fight between two people in the street, and you say, "Oh, there's a fight in the street," nobody cares. But if you go, Mike Tyson's fighting Holmes or something like that, everybody's going to run to see it.
Right.
So it's how you advertise the thing, how you make it sound, and it's. I love it. I mean, I get attracted to that. I want to hear the best part, but reality is reality. And again,
Yeah. Yeah.
this.
What did you say? You said PT?
Like P.T. Barnum.
Yeah. How you exhibit it? Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I mentioned this before talking about P.T. Barnum. That's one of the greatest examples. You're right. One time he was being hit with too many people attending his show,
Oh, I love
and
this.
he was overcrowded, and he didn't know what to do. So I had too many people.
Right.
You got to get some people out. So he had one of his painters run and put a sign and put to the egress. Immediately, what happened? Everybody left the building, and then when they ran out, they found out that they'd been had.
Yeah. Oh, that was.
But that's it. It was just funny though. But
Yeah.
Chuck, I mean, give me your opinion about all this, Chuck. Give me your input on this.
No, I agree with you. We're in the Goldilocks zone here with the Earth. Everything's properly balanced. We're not too hot, not too cold. Everything works together. Yeah, there is a limit to reason. I mean, that's where a person's faith comes in, and either you have it or you don't. And I think people got to just stop searching for these answers that don't exist. But hey, that's life. There's going to be some people that believe and some people that don't, and I don't judge anybody. I just pray for people. But I did want to mention what you touched on: the submersible. Our thoughts and prayers do go out, and it should be left alone. I think that's a graveyard. I don't think people should be messing with that. Just leave it alone, man. You've been down there, what, since 1912, I
Yep.
think, something like that. And I think it should be left alone. You know,
I don't
you know
know.
what? It's not a tourist attraction, is what I'm saying.
That Bermuda Triangle, is that a magnetic field, or what do you think
I don't know what's.
that is?
I have no idea. You
Because
know.
how come planes disappear and ships disappear over it?
Yeah, I don't know. We could speculate on that forever.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an electromagnetic, you know,
Is that where Atlantis
a
is?
type of a thing. Well, that's not far from your home, Eddie. That's the Bermuda Triangle is Cuba, right? And off the coast of Florida and so forth. And yeah, there's been planes and ships disappearing in there for years. I don't know.
That's what they speculate, that it was
Yeah.
some kind of
Yeah. And like Eddie said, we
aircraft.
love stuff like this. We love
Yeah.
to talk about things like this. It's very interesting. I love to look at different civilizations and things that they've built. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Oh, history and
Yeah, history. You know, in Bolivia, Pumapunco, they got these walls that fit together perfectly. They were built thousands of years ago.
It's amazing.
I mean, it
The
makes
pyramids.
yeah. But this place, Pumapunco, they were carved like H's and they locked together. I mean, it makes the pyramid looks like.
Where's that at?
Bolivia,
Oh, you
Pumapunco's
did say
in
that.
Bolivia. Yeah, it's an amazing feat. I mean, it makes the pyramids look like child's play, actually. You know, so yeah, we like all kinds of things like that as
And
well.
you love P.T. Barnum.
Oh yeah, I'm a showman. I'm a
Oh,
showman at heart.
that?
Yeah, The Greatest Showman. You know, I actually never got to see that yet. I always put it
Oh,
off. And
Oh, you have to see
Eddie,
this.
it's good. I wouldn't mind watching it again.
Yeah, I saw it about 3 or 4 times. It was so good, and Hugh Jackman did a wonderful
That's who it was. Yeah.
job on there. Fantastic. I love P.T. Barnum.
but you know what though, Chuck? You know, a lot of times I like watching shows like Nova and stuff like that because they really kind of tell you the truth. They don't really push things. Like, for example, everybody likes Oak Island. I mean, Oak Island was very famous in the 80s.
It's amazing.
These people have taken and they've literally found junk. 14 years. It's actually on its 14th season. Now it's going to go to 15 seasons.
Right.
I mean, how many years does it take to try to prove that there's a treasure or not? Either dig the hole or don't dig a hole at all. Now they're going here. So they've been trying to captivate the audience. And I got to be honest with you, I'm a sucker for it. And for 14 years, there's absolutely nothing. All they find.
I know. I gave up after the first
season. Yeah, well, there's still people there. Otherwise, they wouldn't continue the show. In fact, it's done so well for the Laginas that now they have the After Oak Island or the Gold or the Lost Mississippi, you know, different things they have. And it's all the same company and the same brothers.
I know. Everybody loves the unexplained. Oh,
you have a crowd of people. Among the crowd, there's one person that knows how to be the loudest mouth, the biggest talker, and he will know how to bring people to him and whatever. So he'll create stories and people follow.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, the reason I'm kind of comparing it to that is because I'm just trying to say any individual who knows how to be a good storyteller will be able to get people to listen to his stories and believe what he says.
Right.
I mean, take a look at Castro. Didn't Castro even Hitler. How many people followed them?
Hey, that's why I like my job so much. I do it I do it in entertainment. You know what? A lot of been a good yarn with, and it's actually kind of humorous and you know what? It is an entertainment form, magic, obviously, and it puts you into it puts you in a fantasy land for about 45 minutes, you know, which is kind of cool, you know, because like, you know, it helps people forget about their problems for a while and just enjoy the entertainment, you know, and that's what's cool about magic. I always like that aspect of it.
You know, this is a good example, and I'm going to use now, and I'll compare it to, let's say, Christianity. When you look at Christianity, let's say magic, you do magic, you say it's a trick, this and that, that's usually no proof. But when you look at Christianity, for example, you take the early Christians, they're thrown to lions, and what happens? The movement grows even more.
It grows even
more. Instead of like, you know, Jesus gets crucified, what happens? The movement grows more. They obviously saw something. Otherwise, why would it be such a strong, potent religion in the world today? Like I tell people, you say God don't exist, then tell him he doesn't exist and make himself known to you. Like if you say, just tell him point blank, I don't believe you, you don't exist. And let God, if he is real, you'll find out if he exists or not.
Yeah, we'll find out someday.
But when it comes to all this, you know, theories and this and that, a theory is just a theory. When you take science and you follow a theory. Oh, well, the theory, it's a theory. It's not a fact. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Everything from Darwin. You know how much
Huh.
things Darwin puts out that is just not quite right? You know, there is things like, oh, a rock emerged, and then from a rock, a single cell organism. I mean, come on, man. Tell me you're going to have a Big Bang, and then the Big Bang explodes, and out of the Big Bang, all this coincidence, which is one in a trillions of a trillion,
Yeah,
could
that's true.
happen.
Yeah, yeah. And
I,
what sparked these organisms? You can't get.
right. Name is
Uh,
Carl Sagan.
oh,
Oh,
Carl.
he didn't believe in anything, but if he realizes everything he taught in Cosmos and all this stuff, it's actually now being thrown out the window.
Yeah.
All the stuff he believed in is wrong. So that gets to the basics of why I say people have to do more research, people have to be more open minded, and people have got to be less gullible. Because, like I said, I one time put this is years ago. I got a collection from a magician, and the magician had this old suitcase in it, and again, it had a dummy in it. I've had a couple collections I bought that have a ventriloquist dummy in the suitcase. So I take the ventriloquist dummy and I take a string, tie it around the neck, make the hand move up and down, and I sold it for like almost $400. The
Yeah.
dummy I think was worth no more than 10 or 15 because it was old. But anyway, people will buy and people love the stuff and they like everything that's just they think is not. But the truth is, it's just a prop.
Yeah.
You just bought a prop. Like right now, if you go to buy the say the gun they used in Star Trek or they used in Star Wars, you're gonna pay thousands. It's a prop. It's
Yeah.
not a real laser pistol. You
Oh,
follow
yeah.
me?
Oh, right.
That's the point. The point is people. Some people are very, very gullible, and some people just don't have a. And not some. I think most of the because if you look at most of the nation right now, and you see how people act and how people throughout they believe everything or this and that, and you have people. This is like one of my biggest things that I laugh at. They're driving their own car and they're wearing two masks on, starting in Las Vegas, where a lot of people are getting fungus infections and
Yeah.
they're dying. Well, hey, just think about it. If you this is something big, it's coming in the paper. I think Las Vegas right now has the biggest outbreak. Well, here's my question to you. If a nation has been wearing a mask and they're protected from the elements that make your bodies become stronger, the
Yeah.
antibodies in your body that need to become whatever, how in the world are they going to survive when they get hit with something that their body doesn't have any defense for? And
Yeah.
for example, I've seen a guy, he's wearing a mask, a blue mask, and on top of the blue mask, he's wearing a N95 mask,
Oh,
and he's
goodness.
driving with his windows in his car rolled up.
Yeah.
You see how much of a stupid idiot, that's the
Yeah.
best way to say that person is?
Yeah.
That
That is
person's
that
just
that
And
is.
they're by themselves,
Yeah, they're
right?
by
they're by
themselves.
themselves. Yeah,
That's.
but that person to me, it's kind of like it's just like an idiot just breathing the air,
Yeah.
which he's just about as smart as a tree that takes carbon monoxide in. It's just
Right.
useless because here's a
Yeah.
person doing this, and here's the question that I asked myself: did you ever wonder? Did you ever read that when you breathe out, breathe out carbon monoxide and you bring
Yeah.
in oxygen? What
Right.
do
Right.
you think you're doing to yourself if you're breathing your own breath?
Yeah. It's not
You're
good.
breathing in your car, you're
Yeah.
gonna die.
You're gonna. Yeah.
And people are just not that bright, and this is very common. I still see this.
I know. Once in a while, we still see it. It's
Chuck,
almost a comic.
it's
Watching.
comical, but you know what? I do understand. Okay, I get it when it's an old person that don't know anything better in life. They're 80,
Yeah.
who knows? But when you get a 20, 25-year-old doing this,
Yeah.
I find that so like stupid and ridiculous. Okay, I get some Asian people, they have to wear masks over there because the pollution's so high at any given
Right.
time.
Oh
But
yeah.
okay, I get that. I get that they come here, but you also have people that come here. They're nomads from the middle of Afghanistan, and they're wearing the same wardrobe as they did in Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just comical, but that tells us how humans we are, and how we're always going to be. There's nothing that's going to change the human nature.
Oh yeah. You know what? After all these years of doing magic shows, like during the pandemic, I think I only had to do two shows with a mask on Cheri. This place insisted I wear a mask. And I'll tell you what, 45 minutes,
dizzy.
I was almost lightheaded and dizzy by the time the show was over. It was ridiculous. I was
breathing in your carbon dioxide.
breathing the carbon dioxide and everything.
And the people didn't have any masks on, did they?
No, most of the audience didn't wear it, but they
were older people.
It was the most bizarre thing. And I'm thinking, oh no. And I got a beard and I sweat to begin with. I'm a sweater, man, and by the end of the show, I was dripping sweat. I could hardly breathe. I was almost gasping. I said, oh no. But I've only had to do it twice, thank goodness. And so now they repealed all the mask stuff, so everything's open, thank God. But it was rough, those two shows.
You reminded me, as we were talking about when Dave Harvest at one time mentioned Dave a couple of years ago, he had one of those museums like Ripley's Believe It or Not up in Lake George.
Yeah.
And he actually had acquired one of the things that made him pretty kind of popular up there. He was able to get that house or castle that was in the Guinness Book of World Record that was made of, I think it was popsicle sticks or something.
Oh, like that's cool. Wow.
Yeah. And he was able to get the original. So that was one of his big, thing to bring people in. But he mentioned a story where he actually built a wax head of Lincoln, and over in his own, he put together a coffin in his garage, and he put Lincoln in it, and he put a nice Lincoln display, and he had it up there. And the funny thing is, the little old lady was standing there, and she waited, and she asked and said, "How did the government allow you to put Lincoln's body there?"
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I find that funny because people are gullible. I mean, I've seen it. A lot of people are just. Not a lot. I think everybody's gullible to a point. Even I myself, I'm one of those idiots. Like, say, for example, if somebody sells a soap or a deodorant or something, they put a bat, it says haunted perfume or something, I end up buying it just because I like the ad or the.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I'm a sucker for those things. I buy a lot
Me
of things
too.
just because of the way it's done. I bought a perfume called Alien one time, my wife, and it smelled like it was from Mars. Oh my God, that's the stinkiest perfume I ever smelled. And
Yeah.
I returned it. That's how bad it was. It cost me $100 and something, but I bought it because the bottle looked so cool.
Wow.
And
you don't have all those storage units for nothing, Eddie.
I of course, yeah, because buying exactly.
You buy everything.
I buy and the funny thing is, I don't just buy comic book novelties or honor novelties. I buy a lot of stuff that basically anything that in the realm of haunted house, skeleton, Dracula, Frankenstein, that's vintage, that reminds me of my childhood, I buy.
Aww.
And that's the problem because, again, look how much it grows.
Oh.
You know what, Chuck? We're working, and we've talked about this, and I'm working on a big surprise for a lot of people. I'm going to be taking my collection pretty soon, and everything's going to be turned to good purpose. And I think a lot of people love the fact that they'll be able to acquire a lot of things, but that's going to be a few months away.
Yeah.
I need to figure it out how it's going to be done and stuff. But yeah, guys, I'm paying $1,250 a month for storage facilities, just of how many storages I have, how many comic books I have. And then when you look at the whole thing, you're like, hey, I'm 58 already. I'm going to be 59 in another month. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing with all this thing? I'm almost ready to retire. I can't move nowhere because I got to carry 18 trucks of junk with me, so it's got to come to an end. And that's what I'm saying. That's when you kind of start around and you're like, you know what, I need to do this, and that, and make things better. But, having said that, one thing that I also want to bring now, Chuck, for the last couple of minutes you want to discuss and talk about is the website that we have put together, Chuck. It's a forum. A lot of people like it. It seems to be kind of cool because it's simple to run. It's a little barbaric in the fact that whoever created that forum, Tapa Talk, it's about 10, 15 years old, but whoever invested the money in creating the forum, I think just laid it out. It doesn't give you much room to do anything on it. It's got the same programming in it from 10 years ago. It's not really user-friendly. It's user-friendly for the people that go on the forum, but like actually Joe, I think, said it in last week's podcast, it's not user friendly for the people like me and Jason Bakley that helped me out a lot on it. He tried to help me and guide me in understanding how it works. So it's there. I mean, it's there for the time being. I don't know of any immediate things, but I'm definitely looking, especially like I said, we're going to start doing this show every 2 weeks and stuff. And we're going to change it to, make it more exciting, make it talk about topics of the day, the most prevalent topics of what's going on. And we're still a collectible. We're still a monster and comic book collectible company that sells magic tricks, novelties, and deals with that. And we're going to probably be discussing topics that are trending at the time. So we're going to look into many different things. All this stuff, all these changes will be happening in the next couple of weeks because, like I said, I'm trying with the website to see how well it's generating people. It looks like it's doing pretty good right now. The podcast right now, because of the way Spotify switched us over, it's there. It's. I need to bring it up to par. Need to maybe if we have to do half-hour episodes every 2 weeks, whatever. We need to get the same listenership. At one time, we had 7,200 subscribers about 2 or 3 months ago. And right now, I don't know how many subscribers we have. According to the tech support, they say we're still being heard by the same amount of people. But I can't know because now they want, I think, $49 a month in analytics fees. It's kind of crazy, but I'm actually redoing everything. And it's going to be more useful. I might consider also doing some Facebook rooms, like those rooms where we get together. But the whole thing is I'm actually talking it over with a few of the experts on this. I'm actually going to call out and reach out to Ski from Stupid Comics because, he's got quite a few good ideas and stuff. And, maybe he can help out. But right now we're going to be doing a revamping of a lot of things. Just look forward. It's going to be to the good. So having said that, Chuck, I think we're almost a few seconds away. Guys, it's been a beautiful week podcast.
Yes.
It's been a beautiful week. God bless all you and good night.
Okay.
God bless. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.